What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Erasure, and I forgot to mention, I'm hoping to remember to put a comment in my previous Erasure reaction, which is for another bonus tune from the self-titled album period, called High Energy. But I forgot to mention vocally in that reaction that it's come to my attention that Vince Clarke's wife has passed away, so obviously that can't be easy for anyone to lose a longtime partner, and I know Vince is still involved in some musical projects. He just put out I think it's like an ambient album recently, I think 2023. So yeah, condolences to Vince, RIP to his wife, and ultimately I wanted to go through a few tunes of his. I listened to a track by him under the Deep Tronica name. I'm also doing a couple Erasure reactions, so again, condolences to Vince, RIP to his wife. We are going on to Cowboy 1997. Indeed, I'll keep going through the remaining bonus tunes from the self-titled album, but a couple people, including Adam, who shared a lot of stuff with me, he mentioned he was really keen to start the Cowboy album 1997, and in particular he said Rain is a track he's quite fond of, so keen to hear it. I mean, I've talked about in a number of reactions, tracks that are either called Rain or include references to rain. It's a great starting point for a metaphor, for an emotional coloring. Ultimately, it can speak to attitudes, relative to sunny skies. There are all sorts of lyrical avenues that lend themselves to the concept of rain, so curious to hear what might be at play here. I have been told that this album is a bit poppier, less experimental, less 7-minute tunes of varying electronic experimentation and so on, like a lot of the self-titled album was. But yeah, ultimately, even saying that, I don't necessarily know what to expect sonically, so I'm looking forward to hearing the sound of this album. And again, shout out to Adam for sharing all sorts of music, including Erasure, along with Philip and a number of others, including Han Solo and Herman. I feel like Erasure is, now I'm realizing, like one of the deep dives where the material has come from like a half dozen people, so shout out to all of you. Here we go. This is the opening tune on Cowboy. It's called Rain, and this is Erasure in 1997.
What is there to do? Only rain falling down from the sky. Only me and you, fair and plain. Nothing lost and nothing gained. Love, nothing more, nothing less comes between us. Taking pictures rising, my passion is burning inside. My world in light, saving all as one. A love no one can deny.
That really deep bass is kind of like speed garaging.
I won't settle for less, but no regrets. See myself in your own reflection. See myself in your reflection.
Sort of wavy pads in the background.
That tells me why.
I feel like Andy finds himself there a lot emotionally, driven silly by his passion for someone.
Taking pictures rising, my passion is burning inside. My world in light, saving all as one. A love
Definitely some 303 work though. Swizzly acid. Yes, it's an official word. Sort of like almost harpsichord like. I like that climbing up at that measure change. And you just kind of sailing on the skies here. It's funny, I was thinking like, oh, we're going to get another interlude and so on, but it's literally, I've been thinking about the track length and, you know, sort of flavor of the last album and some of the bonus tunes. Now, granted, that's sort of interrupted because I, you know, went through a couple Snow Globe tunes, but either way, that's a cool track, and it's, you know, much sunnier, you know, much less cloudy or gray skies than I was initially expecting, but ultimately it sounds very passionate, and he's basically saying again, as he has in different ways in different songs, that his infatuation with someone has just, you know, driven him wild. And there's a line, it was like, what was the worldly something, but it sounded like he said worldly pleasure at one point, which sounds like he's talking like, you know, the physical connection, not just like the way he's feeling in his emotions. So I don't know if I heard that wrong, and it was just the worldly, was it life, or I forget what the line was. This always happens because I'm like thinking about the Sonics, and it's so like fresh on a first listen that sometimes I distort things, which is why I always say, you know, multiple listens I start to hear more and more. Now granted, you know, in modern times I often get insight or even just the full lyrics from people in the comments, so, you know, it tends to happen a little bit faster where I figure out what's going on. But either way, he sounds very excited, he's very into this person, to the point of feeling maybe a bit out of control, which again, that feels, you know, very true to their lyrical subject matter quite often. I will say also, there were a couple moments, like not the whole thing, and indeed some of the production reminded me of what I've heard from like Chorus and the self-titled album, that like the 90s Erasure, but there's a couple moments where it reminds me of the sort of fun lightness of the early Erasure albums, which, you know, resonated with me as a kid, and then, you know, in the last couple of years since I started doing reactions, I've come to appreciate to an even greater degree. And shout out to Han Solo. I don't remember, I guess I'll assume it's a Depeche Mode reaction, but I know like both Izzy and Han Solo were a couple of the people who started commenting on the Erasure reactions early. And I get it, like, you know, some of their like material might be preferred by people more than other parts of their catalog. It seems like every group I go through that is the case. But yeah, ultimately, you know, as a fan of Vince, as a fan of Erasure in the 80s, it's really cool to get this larger journey. And, you know, until I started doing this deep dive, I didn't know this. I knew Erasure was still around, but I didn't know the substance of what they were doing. So I remember when I saw the name of and the cover art for Cowboy, I was amused. I was like, oh, I gotta know what's going on in that album. That's interesting. So yeah, now we get to go through it. So once again, shout out to Adam, shout out to Philip, shout out to Han Solo, Herman. I'm sure I'm forgetting people, because again, there are a few deep dives, and Erasure is clearly one of them, where there's just multiple people making sure I can go through the wider discography. So in any case, let me know what you think of this. I will see you next time. Peace.